I never thought fetching coffee in a Denver tech startup would lead to the biggest showdown of my life. Back then, I was Emily Carter, the quiet admin assistant at Peak Innovations, a scrappy company nestled in the shadow of the Rockies. We'd started small, in a converted warehouse off Colfax Avenue, where the air smelled like fresh pine from the nearby trails and the hum of servers mixed with the chatter of ambitious coders. I wasn't just there to answer phones or schedule meetings. I had a background in software engineering from my time at the University of Colorado. But life had thrown me curveballs, and I needed a steady gig after my divorce. So, I took the job, thinking it'd be temporary. Little did I know, it had become my battlefield. It all started innocently enough. Our founder, Jack Harlan, was a visionary type, tall, with that easy Western charm, always wearing cowboy boots under his jeans like he was ready to hit the rodeo after closing a deal. He dreamed big about revolutionizing data compression for cloud storage, something that could handle the massive files from oil rigs in Wyoming or satellite imagery from NASA's outposts in New Mexico. But his ideas were raw. The early prototypes crashed more than they compressed. That's where I stepped in, quietly at first. After hours, while everyone else headed to happy hour at the local brewpub, I'd tinker on my laptop in the break room, optimizing code snippets and drafting patent ideas on napkins stained with takeout green chili. One evening, Jack caught me at it. "Emily, you're still here? What's that you're working on?" I showed him a cleaner algorithm for entropy-based compression that could shave gigabytes without losing quality. His eyes lit up like the 4th of July fireworks over Coors Field. "This is gold, but we don't have a legal team yet. Can you draft it up? We'll clean it later." I nodded, but I wasn't naive. I'd learned from my ex-husband's messy business dealings back in Texas. Always protect your work. So, I filed the initial patent under my own LLC, Carter Tech Solutions, which I'd set up years ago for freelance gigs. It was all above board, registered with the Colorado Secretary of State, and I offered Peak a non-exclusive license in exchange for credit and a fair consulting fee down the line. Jack signed without batting an eye, too focused on pitching to venture capitalists in Boulder. Over the next few years, as Peak grew from a garage band operation to a buzzing office with views of the Front Range, I kept contributing. I'd code modules during lunch breaks, troubleshoot bugs while manning the front desk, and file 42 more patents, all under my LLC, all licensed to the company with clear clauses about attribution and reversion rights if I was ever sidelined or the company sold without my input. It was standard IP law stuff, vetted by a lawyer friend in Albuquerque to ensure it held up in federal court. But as the team expanded, my role faded into the background. New hires, mostly young guns from Stanford or MIT, saw me as just the admin. And then there was Ryan Decker, our VP of Operations, a slick talker from California who'd surfed his way into management on waves of charisma and zero substance. Ryan treated the office like his personal kingdom. "Emily, grab me a latte, extra foam." "No, Daddy." My guts acting up, he'd bark across the open-plan space, where reclaimed wood desks sat under exposed beams, evoking that rugged Western vibe. The interns, in their flannel shirts and hiking boots, would chuckle, thinking it was all in good fun.
Igala.
Head to the kitchen with its mountain view window, and pour the coffee, all while swallowing the bile rising in my throat. I'd been there longer than the Keurig machine, but to Ryan, I was invisible, except when he needed copies or conference rooms booked. It stung, especially when I'd overhear him taking credit for his team's breakthroughs in meetings. But I kept my head down, documenting everything: emails, code commits, even casual chats logged in my personal journal. In Colorado, where self-reliance is a way of life, I figured patience was my best ally. Things heated up when rumors swirled about an acquisition. A big player from Silicon Valley, Vista Corp, was sniffing around, drawn by our compression tech that was perfect for their AI-driven cloud services. The office buzzed like a beehive in spring, folks talking stock options over craft beers at the afterwork trivia nights downtown. Jack posted on LinkedIn about exciting horizons, and Ryan strutted like a peacock, already eyeing his bonus for a new truck to haul his mountain bike. Me? I prepped the due diligence packets, printing binders in the supply room that smelled of fresh ink and pine air freshener. But I also dusted off my LLC files, reviewing the reversion clause, if attribution was omitted or my employment altered during a sale. All right snapped back to me. It was ironclad, compliant with U.S. patent law under Title 35. And I'd even had it notarized annually. The Vista team arrived on a crisp fall morning, the kind where the aspen leaves turned gold against the blue sky. 5 suits, sharp as tacks, flew in from California, renting SUVs to navigate the winding roads from DI. They breezed past my desk without a glance, heading straight to the glass-walled conference room with its panoramic view of Pikes Peak in the distance. Ryan led the charge, waving charts I'd helped create, boasting about our in-house innovations. I refilled water pitchers, eavesdropping on terms like IP chain and licensing agreements. My heart raced, but I stayed cool, like a rancher watching a storm roll in over the plains. That night, alone in the office as the sun dipped behind the mountains, casting long shadows across the floor, I sent myself a reminder email, trigger review upon diligence. It was my digital breadcrumb, time-stamped and secure. I knew Vista's lawyers would dig deep. Acquisitions in tech were like high-stakes poker, and no one folded without checking the cards. Sure enough, the next day, their lead counsel, a no-nonsense woman named Laura from LA, started asking pointed questions. Where's the full attribution log for these patents? Ryan shrugged it off. All internal. No issues. But I saw her note it down, her pen scratching like a warning. By midweek, the cracks showed. Vista paused the talks, requesting a full IP audit. Ryan paced his office, barking at interns, while Jack looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. I kept my routine organizing files, smiling politely, but inside, I was stealing myself. When Laura's team cross-referenced the USPTO database, my notifications pinged. They'd found me 42 patents, all tied to Carter Tech, all licensing peak with conditions. The office went quiet as a ghost town. Ryan exploded in a closed-door meeting I wasn't invited to. This can't be right. Emily's just support staff. But the law didn't care about titles. It cared about signatures and timestamps. Finally, they called me in. I walked into that room, folder in hand, the mountain air filtering through the vents carrying a hint of sage. Ryan's face was red as a sunset. Jack avoided my eyes, and Laura looked at me with newfound respect. MS. Carter, explain this licensing setup. I laid it out calmly, the agreements, the clauses, how I'd built the core tech while they overlooked me. It was all legal. No loopholes. Colorado's business-friendly laws backed it, and federal IP statutes sealed it. The room fell silent. For the first time, I wasn't invisible. I was the key player. The revelation hit like a sudden Rockies thunderstorm, loud, unavoidable, and leaving everything soaked in reality. Sitting there in the conference room, with the afternoon sun glinting off the snow-capped peaks outside, I watched Ryan's empire of ego crumble. He'd always been the type to dominate happy hours at the local distillery, regaling everyone with tales of his strategic genius, but now his voice cracked as he stammered. This is a mistake. Emily handles calendars, not code. Laura, the Vista Council, didn't even glance his way. She flipped through my documents, her expression as steady as a boulder. The records don't lie, Mr. Decker. These patents are registered to MS Carter's LLC, and the license includes clear reversion triggers. Jack finally spoke up, his voice tentative, like a hiker lost on a trail. Emily, why didn't you say something sooner? I met his gaze evenly. I did. In the agreements you signed. But no one read the fine print. It wasn't accusatory, it was fact. In the West, where folks pride themselves on handshake deals, I'd learned the hard way that paper mattered more. My ex had taught me that during our split, he tried to claim half my freelance work without a trace of documentation. So, I'd armored up with legal precision, ensuring every patent filing complied with the Patent Act, complete with inventor affidavits and assignment records. The meeting dragged on, Vista's team dissecting the clauses like prospectors panning for gold. Clause 4.2, attribution required in all public disclosures. Clause 5.1, reversion upon material change in employment status during M&A. It was all there, black and white, e-filed with a USPTO and backed by timestamps from my GitHub repos. Ryan tried to pivot, suggesting it was team effort, but Laura shut him down. Federal law requires accurate inventor attribution. Misrepresentation could void the deal, or worse, invite lawsuits. She cited cases like the famous Qualcomm disputes, making it clear this wasn't negotiable. The air grew thick, even the hum of the HVAC seemed louder. After they adjourned, Ryan cornered me in the hallway, his face twisted like a bad poker hand. You planned this, didn't you? Sabotaging the sale for what? Revenge. I shook my head. No, Ryan. I protected what was mine. You just assumed it wasn't. He stormed off, muttering about backstabbing admins, but I felt a quiet resolve settle in. That evening, as I drove home along I-25, the city lights twinkling against the darkening mountains, I called my lawyer in Santa Fe. It's happening, I said. She confirmed. Everything was solid. No gray areas. Under U.S. law, inventors retain rights unless explicitly assigned, and I'd never done that. The next few days were a whirlwind. Vista demanded a full resolution before proceeding, putting the $180 million deal on ice. Jack pulled me aside in the kitchen, where the coffee machine gurgled like an old friend. Emily, we need to fix this. What do you want? His tone was earnest now. No more patronizing pats on the back. I laid out fair terms. 2% ongoing royalties, back pay equivalent to a senior engineer's salary for my contributions, about $350,000, and equity in the new entity. Plus, a title bump to reflect my role. It wasn't greed, it was justice, calculated based on market rates from Glassdoor and comparable IP cases in the Ninth Circuit. Ryan, meanwhile, unraveled. He started avoiding meetings, snapping at staff over minor things like misplaced Post-its. Whispers spread through the office. Folks who'd laughed at his coffee orders now eyed me with curiosity, even respect. One in turn, a kid from Wyoming named Tyler, approached my desk hesitantly. MS Carter, is it true you built the core algo? That's badass. I smiled. Team effort. But yeah, I had a hand in it. It felt good, like emerging from a long shadow into the high-altitude sun. Vista's team returned midweek, armed with their own audits. Laura presented findings. My patents formed the backbone of Peak's value. Without them, the tech was worthless. They proposed a mediated settlement, invoking Colorado's alternative dispute resolution laws to keep it out of court. We gathered in the boardroom, the scent of fresh-baked goods from a nearby bakery wafting in, Jack's attempt at easing tension. Ryan sat sullenly, but I focused on the facts. "I'm open to amending the license," I said, "but credit where credit's due." We negotiated for hours, hashing out details like royalty caps and non-compete clauses, all while ensuring compliance with antitrust regs from the FTC. By sunset, we had a draft. I'd retain ownership, but grant a perpetual license post-acquisition, with safeguards. Jack signed first, his hand steady, but his eyes regretful. Ryan dragged his feet, but Vista made it clear, no deal without my buy-in. As I initialed the pages, a weight lifted. This wasn't just about me, it was a lesson in valuing contributions, no matter the title. That night, over a glass of local whiskey on my porch overlooking the foothills, I reflected. The drama had exposed cracks in our family, but maybe it could heal them too. The office dynamic shifted overnight. Folks started including me in brainstorms, asking for input on code tweaks. Even Ryan, cornered by HR, mumbled an apology in the parking lot. "I underestimated you, Emily." It was half-hearted, but I accepted it. In the West, grudges melt like spring snow, better to move forward. Vista pushed ahead, scheduling the close for next month. But I knew the Real win was personal. I'd stood up, legally and emotionally, turning invisibility into influence. As the week wrapped, Jack invited the team to a barbecue at Washington Park, a nod to our Colorado roots. Amid the grilling burgers and frisbee games, he pulled me aside. "You've saved us, Emily, and taught me a thing or two." I nodded. "Just remember, everyone's got hidden depths, like those mountain mines full of untapped ore." It was a gentle nudge, not a lecture. The sun set golden, and for the first time, I felt truly part of the landscape. With the deal back on track, the tension eased like a river after flood season, but the undercurrents remained. I dove into the transition, reviewing Vista's integration plans for my new corner office, a upgrade Jack insisted on, with a view of the Denver skyline blending into the endless plains. My title was now Senior IP Advisor, a far cry from admin, and it came with a salary bump that let me breathe easier on my mortgage. But the drama wasn't over. Whispers of resentment lingered, especially from Ryan, who saw his bonus shrink to accommodate my terms. One morning, as fog lifted from the valleys, Laura from Vista called a virtual huddle. "We've flagged potential overlaps with existing patents. Yours hold priority. But we need clean assignments." It was standard due diligence, but it unearthed old emails where Ryan had claimed sole credit in investor pitches. Under the Lanham Act, that could be false advertising, but I waved it off. "Let's focus on forward, not lawsuits." Mercy felt right. I'd won enough. We amended the agreements, ensuring all future docs listed me as primary inventor, compliant with USPTO guidelines. Ryan's unraveling peaked during a team offsite in the Rockies, a ropes course meant to build trust. As we navigated zip lines over pine forests, he cornered me at lunch. "You think you're clever, hijacking the deal?" His voice was low, bitter like black coffee. I met his stare. "I didn't hijack, I protected. Maybe next time. Read the credits." He backed off. But later, HR pulled him for sensitivity training. Colorado's employment laws frowned on harassment, and witnesses had reported his outbursts. Amid the chaos, personal threads wove in. My sister, Sarah, flew in from Arizona, sensing my stress. Over hikes in Rocky Mountain National Park, where elk grazed under azure skies. She reminded me of our family mantra, strength in silence, but speak when it counts. It grounded me, turning the story from pure revenge to one of redemption. Jack, 2. Opened up during a late-night strategy session. I overlooked you, Emily. Assumed the tech just happened. I shared my backstory, the divorce that derailed my career, pushing me into admin roles. Everyone's fighting battles, I said. He nodded, promising inclusive policies moving forward. Vista's R&D head, Mike from Seattle, visited, impressed by my roadmap. Your compression could revolutionize remote sensing for wildfires out west. We brainstormed over green chili stew at a local joint, discussing ethical AI use, ensuring data privacy under CCPA. It felt collaborative, a shift from the old hierarchy. Back at the office, I mentored Tyler the intern, showing him patent basics. Document everything, I advised. It's your shield in this wild industry. As closing neared, a curveball, an anonymous tip to Vista alleged IP theft traced back to Ryan's burner email. Laura investigated, finding no merit, but it exposed his desperation. Jack confronted him privately. Ryan resigned, citing new opportunities. In his exit interview, he admitted fault. I got ahead of myself. No charges pressed. Colorado's at-will employment smoothed it, and I advocated leniency. Let him learn, I told Jack. It was my nod to humanity. Grudges poison the well. The deal closed on a sunny Friday. Confetti in the lobby mixing with high fives. Vista absorbed peak. My royalties secured via escrow. I stayed on, bridging the teams. That evening, at a celebration bonfire in the foothills, stars blanketing the sky, Jack toasted, to Emily, the unsung hero who became the legend. Laughter echoed, and I felt closure, not triumph, but growth. The lesson? In the vast West, where horizons stretch forever, value people beyond titles. It builds empires that last. Post-acquisition, the office transformed. Vista's sleek branding replaced our rustic signs. But the mountain spirit endured. I settled into my role, overseeing IP integrations from a desk with wildflower views. The drama faded, replaced by routine, reviewing license renewals, ensuring compliance with international treaties like the Paris Convention. But echoes lingered. Former colleagues reached out, sharing similar stories of being undervalued. It sparked a quiet initiative. I started a mentorship program for admins with tech chops, drawing from my experience. One challenge arose. Vista's audit revealed minor discrepancies in early filings. Nothing fraudulent, just sloppy records from Peak's startup days. Laura and I fixed it via amendments, filing with the PTO under 37 CFR. Clean slate, she said. Ryan, meanwhile, surfaced on LinkedIn, touting a new gig in Utah. I wished him well silently. Life's too short for eternal feuds, especially in the interconnected West where paths cross at conferences. Family drama intertwined when my ex, Tom, heard about the windfall. He texted, hinting at our shared ideas from years back. I shut it down with a lawyer's letter, citing our divorce decree under Colorado family law, no claims on postmarital assets. It was a reminder, boundaries matter. Sarah helped me celebrate by volunteering at a women's tech nonprofit in Denver, teaching patent basics to underrepresented groups. Pay it forward, she said. It humanized the victory, turning personal gain into communal good. Jack adapted well under Vista, crediting me in his first all-hands. Emily taught us humility. It fostered a culture shift, more inclusive meetings, credit shared freely. Tyler thrived, filing his first patent under my guidance. Thanks to you, he grinned. The thrill? Seeing others rise. A plot twist. Vista offered me a board seat, recognizing my vision. At the induction in their California HQ, overlooking the Pacific, a quick flight from DEN, I reflected on the journey from coffee runs to corner offices. The board discussed ethical expansions, like using our tech for rural broadband in the Southwest, bridging digital divides. I advocated strongly, drawing from my roots in small-town Texas. Back home, over a family barbecue with Sarah's kids running in the yard, I pondered the lesson. Life's like the Rockies, full of hidden trails. Underestimate someone, and you miss the summit. But with empathy, even rivals can find common ground. The story wasn't just mine, it was a blueprint for fairness in tech's wild frontier. Years on, the acquisition's ripples shaped my life profoundly. At Vista, I led IP strategy, traveling to conferences in Vegas and Phoenix, sharing tales of resilience. The compression tech evolved, powering apps for wildfire monitoring, saving lives in California's blazes. A far cry from corporate drama. Ryan? He messaged eventually, apologizing fully after his own startup flop. You were right. Attribution matters. We grabbed coffee in Salt Lake, no hard feelings, just mutual respect. It was cathartic, proving forgiveness heals. Jack retired to a ranch in Montana, sending postcards. Thanks for the wake-up call. Our mentorship program grew, partnering with universities across the West, empowering hundreds. Personally, I remarried. A kind engineer met at a Boulder hackathon. We hiked the trails where it all began, our kids learning code by campfires. The true end? Not revenge, but reflection. In America's heartland, where self-made stories thrive, mine taught, protect your worth, but lift others. Underestimate at your peril, but redeem with grace. As the sun sets over the peaks, I know true power builds bridges, not burns them.